Our program this morning is Finance and Governance of Capital Cities in Federal Systems. That, coincidentally, is the title of a book by authors Enid Slack and Rupak Chattopadhyay. With contributions from Dr. Gandhi here in DC. One of the questions we are looking at this morning is the extent to which capital cities and their governance is unique from cities of comparable size, demographics, and if their situation is made even more unique by their role inside a federal system. In their book, the authors looked at Canberra, Brussels, Ottawa, Addis Ababa, Berlin, Mexico City, Abuja, Bern, and Washington, D.C. In their introduction, Enid and Rupak nicely sketch those common attributes of the capital city. My reading of the introduction brought to mind that capital cities carry with them the story of their nation. Capital cities have monuments, places of remembrance, museums, places which support and celebrate the collective memory in ways that are very different than most cities. These icons instill pride and create a collective experience. This unique asset, the capital city as the keeper of a national story, is evident in what we do here at the Economic Partnership in the business of business attraction and retention. A DC address has a cachet that is not equaled by surrounding communities, and we always enjoy it when a company locates its corporate headquarters to Shirlington, Virginia, but makes it quite clear in the press release they've located in DC. At this moment, the District of Columbia and the district is hot. In part, it's hot because it's the nation's capital. Every time President Obama goes out to eat, a unique DC event, the idea of eating out becomes more attractive, the local chef becomes more of a celebrity, neighborhoods become more desirable, nightlife becomes more the fabric of the DC experience, new conversations about healthy eating are reignited, especially in my household, and this would also be true with diplomats, actors, musicians, local politicians, and activists, all of whom increasingly choosing to be here because the city has a very important dimension. It's the nation's capital. DC, as the nation's capital, is a special experience for visitors. It is key to our international identity for visitors as well. Vacationers to DC, especially domestic visitors, have chosen not to go to a spa or to a beach when they come here. They've chosen a pilgrimage, a trip to reconnect them with principles and ideals on which the country is founded. This is a serious trip. It is a time of learning, self-reflection, conversation, and reconnection. People expect to be changed as a result of their visit here, and no other American city vacation has these attributes, at least not to the degree that we do. There is an aspect to this when a business locates here, especially associations and not-for-profits. The workers in these organizations, they take their missions very seriously, consistent with the kind of experience people have when they come here on a vacation. They are doing important work here, and they are here doing their work in the nation's capital. This is a city of 600,000 people, a small city by big city standards, barely the size of Staten Island, New York's smallest borough. But we host 147 embassies, some of the most visited museums in the world. We produce more live news feeds daily than any other city in the world. And if we were not a government town, we'd be a media town. We're the center of global attention for good or bad. We are a solid investment choice in no small part because we're the nation's capital. Lastly, the word national has no peer. National Cherry Blossom Festival, the Nationals, National Public Radio, National Symphony Orchestra, National Gallery of Art, National Geographic, the National Association of Home Builders or Realtors, on and on. The word conveys value, position, prestige. We benefit from all of those. Question this morning is this a common situation with capital cities worldwide? I think we look forward to that conversation. So what we wanted to do was look at the work of our authors this morning, think about our experience here in the district, and explore for just a few minutes these issues and others. We're very grateful that you came. The chapter on the District of Columbia was written in part by Nat Gandhi. Nat is the Chief Financial Officer for the District of Columbia and is responsible for the city's finances, including its approximately $7 billion in annual operating and capital funds. As an independent CFO, Gandhi manages the district's finances. He works closely with congressional committees, the Office of Budget and Management, and his staff to oversee district affairs. We're very grateful to have Dr. Gandhi with us this morning. And if you would, sir, please join us for a few remarks. Everybody, Dr. Gandhi.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you to make these remarks. The chapter that you mentioned in the book, of course, my name is there, but the real authors are, only one of them is here. That's Bob Ebo, Yassim Elmez, and Bob Zerardnik and others of my office really put together the chapter for us. It's a collective team effort, but Bob provided the guidance, so we very much appreciate Bob. And Bob Ebo, I'm sure most of you know, deserves a great deal of credit for the financial viability and economic sufficiency of this city. Bob was the chairman of our Tax Revision Commission in dark old days at the control board time, and since then has performed wonderfully well in our own office, in the office of the Chief Financial Officer as our Chief Economist. So we appreciate your contribution, Bob. And I'm so happy that I see so many of my favorite people here, most of them are lovely people, in addition to their great contribution to the city. Harriet Dragonic is there. Harriet, where are you? Harriet is there. She is our Director of Development and had done wonders in terms of economic development. Larry Morale is there, and he was our Insurance Commissioner. And above all, Suzanne Pack, who really transformed city from the dark ages in terms of its technology to truly a 21st century technology. And we appreciate your contribution, Suzanne. Formally, I bring greetings to you from our Mayor Adrian Fenty, and welcome you all to our lovely city. I especially want to extend my warm welcome to all those who are here from Maryland and Virginia, who commute daily to our federal city but do not pay our taxes. Washington, I hope you know that, Suzanne. Washington, as you know, is a lovely city. It is the only place in the world where sound travels faster than light, and where we combine southern efficiency with northern charm. Those of us who work here are afflicted with a peculiar virus known as the Potomac fever. It is the illusion of doing important things. Nevertheless, important things are being done here in the city, and the most important of that has been the emergence of the city from dark days of the near insolvency, almost financial bankruptcy of the city in mid-90s to where it is today. And as many of you know, in mid-90s, we had roughly $500 million deficit in our fund balance. Our bonds were rated junk bonds. The vendors used to line up outside the offices of then Chief Financial Officer Tony Williams to get paid, and threatening that if they don't get paid, they will not provide services to the city. From those days, those dark days, to 2005, 2006, when our fund balance was roughly $1.5 billion, our bond ratings had been AAA and continue to be AAA. So from $500 million deficit in our fund balance to $1.5 billion surplus, a $2 billion turnaround. That has happened here. No other municipality, no other jurisdiction in America has been able to achieve that transformation, that financial rejuvenation as the city has. Great credit, of course, goes to the control board, but also since the control board, about $1 billion of that $2 billion turnaround had been accumulated under the elected leadership of Tony Williams and the council, and since then, Adrian Fenty. So our elected leaders have been fiscally very prudent, financially very responsible, and I continue to believe that going forward, now that we just had an election yesterday, on Tuesday, and we have a new mayor nominee, Mr. Gray, that our city will continue to basically remain fiscally prudent. As of now, we have 13 consecutively balanced budget with surplus. 2010, our 14th consecutively balanced budget, and I guarantee you, when the report is out, our annual CAFR, on February 1st of next year, the 2010 will be a balanced budget. 2011 has already been approved by council, and the mayor has been sent to the Hill as a balanced budget. In this city, having a balanced budget is a routine affair. Nevertheless, we in the Office of the Chief Financial Officer never take it for granted. We also have to have a clean audit opinion from our external accountant. Yes, we have used substantial portion of that $1.5 billion fund balance to where we are today, around $920 million. But I suggest that in difficult times, when situation is tough, family goes to saving account. And that's precisely what we have done. What we have done is that because our revenue had collapsed, and they indeed have collapsed, in 2010, we have roughly lost about $900 million, 2011 about $1 billion, and going forward, we are going to suffer substantial revenue losses. But what I want to assure you is that city would always remain fiscally balanced and financially responsible. That does not mean that we do not have the problems. As we had discussed with Rupak and Enid in New Delhi when we were there, and just a month ago I was in Mexico City talking about the same issues, that we do have a very limited, constrained, narrow tax base. Of every $100 that are earned in the city, we get to tax only $34. Other $66 get taxed in Maryland and Virginia. It's like going to a restaurant and we would say, of all the people who are eating here, only 1/3 will pay, 2/3 will not pay. And then everybody would complain about bad food and bad service. So whenever a commuter here complains to me about potholes and all that, I say, well, look into the mirror and you will find the answer why we have this problem. More than that, roughly 40% of our real property values are exempt from taxes. Federal government next door here, I mean, we're very proud of being the seat of the nation.